Preaching on the yeah.
What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to the one and only Rumboyz Fantasy Network. It's your boy RumboyzRobbie, and that is TDS Taco. What is going on, bro? How you doing? How you feeling?
I mean, I'm slightly optimistic. I'm hearing some good news about my boy Drake, so I'm interested.
Drake. Hopefully, we're talking about the Drake man, not the other Drake.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking about the other Drake, our Lord and Savior.
Holy fuck!
He was wide receiver one.
Yo, at least with the take off that goofy ass background, yeah, that is a pretty goofy looking background. What is good? What is good, Frizz? Sup, my fellow gooners? We are gooning harder than Abdul Carter in the middle of a team meeting right now on this show. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. We're gonna dive right into the show. Taco, how was your fantasy week 13?
Yo, Jason fucking Myers, Maji,
Kobe.
Saving lives out here, baby, saving lives. And I had B-John go off finally. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Surviving without Drake London. That's what we're doing. We're making it pop. I thought once they lost that game, it was over. But someone's telling me there's a chance. Someone's telling me there's a chance.
I missed playoffs in a very important league because I had accidentally taken a penalty in that league. I get one of the rules is no players in IR, and I had Burrow in the IR, so had my defense taken away. Yeah, had my defensive points taken away and lost by one, and missed the playoffs by 1 point.
Jesus.
But I am number one in 2 leagues already secured. That feels pretty good. In second and third in about another 2 or 3. And then in another one in the Colorado Springs Invitational, I am fighting for my life in a 4-way tie for 6th place to get in. Yeah, so we have a lot to dive into tonight on tonight's episode of the Goal Line Goons. We start things off with the injuries, some tough injuries this week. Amon-Ra St. Brown with an ankle injury. Oh no, it's sounding like it may not be too severe and he could go out there and play. We know that Amon-Ra has those good genes, so he might go out there and still tough through this one and play. Shouldn't not be serious, but if it is, we have a pivot for you that we'll talk about later in the show. Shout out to Jameson Williams, though. JMO last week when Amon-Ra went down, immediately stepped up, fulfilled that wide receiver 1 role with no problems. In the blink of an eye, 29 fantasy points that I just had on a bench that would have prevented it to where even if I did take that penalty in that league that I talked about earlier, it would have not fucking mattered because I would have blew my opponent's back out. Marvin Harrison Jr. going to miss some time with a heel injury. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been up and down. He may not miss some time. We'll see. This is one of those injuries where if you have Michael Wilson on your roster, you're like, please just miss a little bit of time. MHJ in roster, bad for Michael Wilson. Like, I think that it's safe to say after what we've seen of Michael Wilson so far, you could probably argue that he could maybe be a 2 on many other teams. because you have McBride there, and then with MHJ, kind of forcing the ball to him to make sure, you're getting what you got for what they drafted him, for and be able to do. Michael Wilson kind of becomes this afterthought. So, I mean, hey, if MHJ is missing, good news for Michael Wilson managers. Bad news for Marvin Harrison Jr. managers, though. He's fucked up undertones there. Yeah, definitely very fucked up undertones there. Parker Washington, almost the same situation here with the Marvin Harrison Jr. situation, except his is a hip injury. Can we just talk about Duval really quick, Taco? Like
Jacoby and Myers.
The thing. Yeah, Jacoby Myers has seemed to be the thing with kind of Parker Washington being the two, but of course BTJ is back. Like he's not back, but he's in the lineup. So like,
bro,
do we worry? Do we worry about
BTJ doing what with Trevor Lawrence? I'm sorry, but I've yet to see them do anything together. He's more of an afterthought, bro. He's more of the guy that's watching his wife go have fun.
Holy shit.
That's what BTJ is. He gonna sit there and watch Jacoby Myers and Trevor Lawrence, and it's the meme of, "Are you sure this is okay?" That's BTJ gonna sit there and watch it happen. Yeah, look, sure, I'm okay with it.
I'm glad that I set you up for that one. Hopefully Parker Washington can get back on the field sooner rather than later for fantasy managers. But also in the same breath, shout out to Trevor Lawrence silently being a fantasy football savior for fantasy football managers that may be in a situation where a quarterback is not so pretty at the given moment. Dylan Sampson could miss some time with the calf injury. More to come on that. Aaron Jones, he's going to miss time after just recently coming back and being reinserted into the lineup. He's likely going to miss some time here. If we go back, you kind of take a look at Aaron Jones' reaction. He was throwing an absolute fucking fit on the sideline, and usually that is not good when your lead running back's body language is toddler temper tantrum. And then finally, Justin Herbert with a hand injury.
That's just crazy.
He's probably going to treat this similar to what Rodgers treated his hand injury recently, as it is on the non-throwing hand. As long as he can still grip and as long as he can still go out there and rip it, should be good to go. But I mean, we also kind of saw how things worked out for Rodgers this last, past weekend. So take that for what it's worth. That's it for injuries. Taco, anything you want to add there?
Just a couple guys might come back. But I don't want to pop those bubbles early, but I got a couple guys I'm looking at right now, including Hampton. Seems like he's going to be good to go this week. London, I don't know. I don't know what they're playing for, but they're teasing us there. And the window's been open on Benson. He's had limited practices for 2 weeks. So it's a shit or get off the pot kind of week for Benson. I think he almost has to come back this week.
With teams that are hanging in the balance at this point, that probably are going to be on the elimination block here soon. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, do you really go out there and put some of those guys out there? I mean, that's something that us as fantasy football managers, that's a realistic thought that we have to have. There's a conversation that we're going to have after we get through the waiver wire that I'm going to bring up game theory wise about real life playoff fears. I mean, and that is one of those real life playoff fears, where hey, I have Drake London on my roster. He is injured right now. They are at this point finito. Yeah, done.
That loss was so bad. I'm sitting at home like, first of all, I said the Jets are going to win some dumb, meaningless game. I promised that on this stream. I said the Jets are going to jet because we had the whole Mendoza's going to be a Jet. And I said, watch them win some stupid game. But the fact they won the stupid game versus the Falcons when I needed them to get that stupid win so that they could be ready for the I think they played Tampa next or some stupid shit, and they had
we betted Jets, by the way.
Yeah, it's
one of the only YouTube channels to do it.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I'm extremely shocked that they said that he was trending right. I just looked and I said, in real life, unless this guy is like 90%, why the fuck would you bring him back? Like this is now, like you said, the game theory portion of,
like I said, yeah, we'll talk about playoff fears,
like, why would you bring him back
moment.
if he's only like 85%? What's the point?
Exactly. There's gonna be a few of those teams out there, and a few situations that fantasy managers are gonna have to think about.
Not Joe Burrow.
Bye weeks. You heard me. You heard me correctly. Bye weeks. After a week of no buys, and it was so glorious. It was so glorious to have no bye weeks. The fantasy team that I have that is fighting for that 4-way 6 seed, spot. Luckily has no bye weeks for once this fantasy football season. In a week that there are bye weeks. It was so glorious to be able to see my fantasy team go off full power. But we have the Patriots, so that means no Drake May, no Stevenson or Hendo, no Boudier, no Hunter Henry, no Diggs, no Mac Hollins. These are all pieces that I have played at one point or another. I've had on a team, or like maybe not like one specific
no New England
football
defense.
team, because like I'm in a lot of no Patriots defense. But these are all pieces like I've had on like roster sporadically, or maybe I've traded for. So I mean, that one's a huge blow. The New York Giants. No Wan'Dale Robinson is a huge fucking blow to fantasy managers. Okay. I think that out of the New York Giants, that is the biggest one. I mean, of course, there's, the Tyrone Tracy's. Devin Singletary looked, pretty good last night. You're not going to have Jackson Dart, Theo Johnson, etc. The San Francisco 49ers in week 14.
That one hurts.
No CMC. Time for Kittle to rest. So, this is one of those that is it sucks. And it sucks that, more than likely, if you have CMC, there is a chance that you are pretty much already well seated into the playoffs. So, this is one of those to where it's it's actually productive for you, because it's okay, cool. I get to have CMC rested for my fantasy football championship run. So in a way, this is one of those weird ones where you kind of like this, if you're a CMC manager. So that one a little bit weird, and also kind of same thought process with the Patriots too. I mean, if you have Drake May, you're on the plus side of things. If you're fighting for your life right now, like I described at the beginning of the show, 4-way fight, 6th place. Just slide the knife in the middle of the fucking ring and figure out who the fuck comes out with a stab wound. That one's topsy turvy. That Patriots one could help or hurt. Same thing with the CMC, and then the Carolina Panthers.
We're also all saved from starting Sticky Ricky again.
Yeah,
Lord knows I'm gonna have to mark myself. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
So these bye weeks kind of are in a help and hurt situation. Carolina Panthers, of course, no Dowdle, no Hubbard, no McMillan. I doubt anyone out there was really starting Bryce Young. I mean, maybe you were with the way that he's been playing lately. So, couple of key missing pieces in a win and get in situation type of week for a lot of fantasy managers. Or maybe this is a good bye week for you if you are on the plus side of the fantasy football playoff bracket. Maybe you're, those 1 through 4 teams where it's it's all pretty much sewn up for the most part. waiver wire ads, really quick. Flex Woody, Kyle Manungai, or pick up Mitchell or Tsala. I am probably going Manungai. I
The
am
amount of work that they gave him and this reduction has been rather interesting. Mitchell is also interesting to me, but I probably go. M- See, like I want to say Manungai, but I mean they're going to be facing the Packers. That's going to be a really fucking tough matchup. I feel like. Um, that's a really great question because part of me would want to roll the ball, roll the dice on, especially because I don't think St. Brown plays this week on Isaac or Mitchell. And Mitchell, I mean, we know they're giving him work at the end of the season because they want to see what they have in him.
I'm not
Garbage time
for me.
points.
I'm not caring about Keaton Mitchell, which I'll get into a little bit later.
Oh, I thought it was AD Mitchell. Sorry. No, then I'm
No,
definitely thinking Isaac.
yeah,
Definitely Isaac.
I'm assuming, or I mean, even if it is AD Mitchell, I don't want to risk the chance of that being a flash in the pan. I mean, I get that it is against Miami. I
Oh,
just don't want.
I would take the AD Mitchell because I do think they want to see what they have in him. So he's gonna get targets. I think I still probably would take Isaac over him because Isaac did score that touchdown, and with no Sun God and with no Laporta, I think there's enough targets there for him to have a interesting day. I think that he plays very. I mean, in the preseason, he was a flash.
I'm out of all options. I'm likely gonna play Manungai. Just out of all those,
I
like
don't love
Manungai
that
is
Packers
kind of
matchup.
yeah. I look. This is the National Football League, and the Packers aren't actually playing fucking great football. Like, there's even conversations in Green Bay with like LaFleur, like if he can't get it done, get them like into the playoffs and actually do something, then they're like it could be like a Tomlin situation where it's like, hey, you make it like one more season at best, or like Packers are kind of frustrated with LaFleur right now. So,
I
and
think
also,
he's
I mean,
gonna do a
I
couple.
could very easily see the Bears going into Lambeau and causing some fucking havoc. Especially with the way
I don't
this
know, I
season
think
has
the
been
Packers
playing
are
out.
starting to find their groove. To me, the Packers are looking like the best team in the NFC after the last
Yeah.
couple of games. You're starting to really unlock Micah Parsons. The offense is starting to roll. You have Reed waiting in the wings, Wicks, Watson. I think they're just starting to figure it out. So I'm on the opposite side of the Packers. Dropping Boudier for Isaac, I think that's a bit much as Boudier is
I
seemingly
wouldn't do that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
yeah, he's seemingly being a favorite target. His upside is capped, but I think when we
Yeah.
get in the playoffs, he could be useful.
And Devin Neal or Monongai, no, definitely not Devin Neal. Um,
There's a chance that Kamara could come back this week too, so be careful.
even still not doing anything with the Saints.
I mean, if Kamara's
Um,
back, there's absolutely no way you could fucking play Devin Neal.
fuck no. Let's get into top waiver wire ads for week 13 by percentage available. Trevor Lawrence sitting somewhere out there around about 48%, give or take. Whenever I checked last night, writing everything down. And I actually do like this as a play if you are needing a quarterback. Even if you're like, you know what, I just need to provide a spark, or your QB1 who you've been playing hasn't been working out for you very well. Um, Lawrence is still hanging in there very silently as a QB12 on the season. He's a top 24 fantasy player overall. If I had the option between a Trevor Lawrence or a Lamar Jackson, which one of the people that I'm in the four-way tie with is actually in this situation, for me on the outside sitting in, I'm praying that my opponent plays the Lamar. What I'm saying is, if you're in this situation, I would probably personally, I would be playing a T-Law. T-Law is having the better season. He's doing better. We are in a fantasy season where name value is not going to win you shit. So just kind of throwing it out there. T-Law, it's not the prettiest. It's not the sexiest. You're trying to win a championship. So sometimes you got to get a little dirty. Tua, 20%. Don't like it, but it's the Jets. So, like, if you're in a situation of like, fuck it, balls to the wall, hope and a prayer, it is the Jets that Tua is playing. So, I mean, if there's any opportunity for Tua to have some glimpse of 4 quarters of consistency, I feel like that it's against the goddamn Jets. And then finally, to round out the quarterbacks, CJ Stroud against the Kansas City Chiefs. Believe it or not, I mean, I don't think that it's going to happen. But like, there's still a chance that the Chiefs can like find a way to sneak into a wild card at the very least.
I don't know anymore.
They're not going to do it. But I don't.
I'm used to the Cowboys.
CJ Stroud looked good last week. This Texas offense is clicking. This Texas offense is actually legitimate.
I mean, if you saw CJ Stroud after some of those Davis Mills wins, he was like, "Fuck you! You're not taking my job."
No, it's fine. I'm not letting I love basketball. I'm not letting a rookie take my job. Stroud, no, for real. Stroud against Indy put up 17 fantasy points. Not pretty, not great. I mean, if you're in a pickle, I mean, I get it. And KC's not playing great right now, but I understand that defense. Like out of all the options on the waiver wire that I just mentioned, out of the 3 quarterbacks I just mentioned, T-Law would be the priority. Like I'd play the other 2 probably over Stroud, given the matchup.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like when you have guys like Lamar Jackson who have completely regressed, and this could be an injury thing, but his rushing.
I won't use the word regress. I don't think that it's a regression.
Well, from a fantasy standpoint, the rushing upside that you get with Lamar Jackson is no longer there. He's not rushing like he was normally averaging 50 yards a game. Yeah. We're not getting close to that right now. So there is a regression. The reason for the regression
with injuries, I think that has to do with injuries and shit like that.
Fair enough, but for this season, there's a regression. Now, is it a permanent regression? I don't know if you could. Probably not. Again, like I said, this is probably due to injury, but the rushing upside that you get with Lamar has regressed, and that takes away his floor. And again, I would play CJ Stroud over him because I cannot count on Lamar Jackson to deliver his 20 points.
Yeah, in that situation,
I don't think he even made 10.
In that situation, yeah. But I mean, keeping on topic with what I was just saying. I would play the other 2 that I just mentioned over CJ, given the matchup. How about Tyrod Taylor? Fuck no. Not letting my fantasy season hang on the Jets or Tyrod. No. It is very well within the realm of outcomes that last week could have just been like, oh, like they got one and whatever. And then like Miami could come out and like look like fucking good. And it's just, I don't want any parts of any of that. Getting into the running backs. We don't know definitively, which is why I did not list him on the injury report, what the status is going to be for Kyren Williams. He is questionable. He has stated that he feels good. He feels pretty damn good. Okay. Even after taking, getting banged up, taking the hit last week, still came back in and actually still ended up with a touchdown right after that. Should Kyren not be full go? I have said it. I have said it. I have said it. If you are not prepared as a Kyron Williams manager, given the landscape of what has taken place this season, if you have not had Blake Corum as your handcuff, he's about 15% rostered, or he's available in about 15% of leagues, give or take. You need to go out there and get him. If you are in a league where you are where Corum is still available and the Kyron manager does not have Corum, you need to be blocking the Kyron manager from getting Corum this week. Because that is going to be that is what they're thinking right now heading to the waiver wire. That is the first waiver wire claim that they are running and putting in. Likely they're probably not thinking about putting in anyone else. They're getting very secular. You need to be prepared. That's my speech with Blake Corum. I've said it. I've seen people run around. Oh my gosh, what do I do? You should have fucking subscribed to the YouTube channel. You would have known this. How long have I been saying this? 6 weeks ago? 7 weeks ago?
It's the draft.
I mean, I wasn't saying this is right.
I mean, listen, if I was drafting Kyron Williams, I was taking Blake Corum because Kyron to me is someone that is, like we've been saying, someone that you want to handcuff. And it's a relatively solid handcuff in Blake Corum. For some reason, I do think he'll probably end up starting. It just the reports seem to indicate they're probably going to play him.
Yeah,
and they're competing for best record in the NFC, so they have a reason to play him. But I would.
Corum had 18 last week.
And Coach McVay said Williams' ankle is feeling pretty good on Monday after he exited the brief loss. He was injured in the second quarter, started a series in the second half. Blake Corum finished 7 times for 81 yards, 33%. I honestly just don't think that he's missing time.
Samaje Perine, 5%. It's not sexy. It's not beautiful. But I mean, again, it's Cincinnati. It's an insurance play. Okay, it's an insurance play. And that's really what P. Ryan is there for any Chase Brown managers out there. Keaton Mitchell. This is really just Baltimore kind of trying to see what they have. I don't feel like anyone needs to rush out there and go and get him. This is one of those, hey, I'm just throwing this out there just in case. He's sitting around 3% rostered. This is not a guy that I see like anyone in your league rushing in and going and get. And I feel like that you don't need to rush and go and get. I'd rather you go and block someone from getting a Corum, or maybe even if you're not able to get Corum, you go for the next guy that I'm about to bring up. Chris Rodriguez, 18%. If you're, in running back purgatory, you need to go and get someone. Go and get Chris Rodriguez. It seems like that Washington for the rest of the season, they're going to give him the burn.
I started that motherfucker last week. Let's go with that tutty. Now,
nice.
It was a little annoying seeing how they were using the receiving back a little more than I had liked, and especially in the second half of the game last week, where seemingly they were trying to catch up. They were down by about a score or so, and they did kind of fade away. Most of the work that Rodriguez did get was in the first half, so let's temper expectations. He is a RB3.
Yeah, that's a temper expectations one, but yeah, with the running backs, it would be Corum first, Rodriguez second, P. Ryan, and then Mitchell.
Yeah, although Rodriguez, I think, probably might have more standalone value.
Yeah, he has a little bit more standalone. Getting into the wide receivers, Jaden Higgins is sitting in the neighborhood of about 35%. We could be looking at a potential flex spot, playoff play here with Jaden Higgins. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Higgins. He started to develop a lot of rapport with Stroud. He even had rapport with Mills when Mills was starting at quarterback. He is definitely emerging as a option that I'm starting to feel comfortable with. Starting to have like a safe double-digit floor. And in the playoffs, sometimes that can be just as valuable, or sometimes even more valuable than a boom or bust guy that may bust more often than not. Pause. So, I mean, if you're in a situation where it's like it's been real finicky, you're just looking for a quick 13-ish points, 10-ish, 11-ish points. And if they go off, they go off. Higgins could do that, or he could be that. He could do that. He definitely does provide that. Taco, we have 2 Jets back to back on this one.
I was talking about this last week.
Yeah, and it's Mechie at 14% availability and Adonai Mitchell at 3% availability. Both these guys getting a revival in a new destination, but I don't know if I want to hang my fantasy playoff hopes.
I would. This is again, if we want to talk about game theory, bad team, gonna be down, gonna have to throw. These guys are getting extended looks to see what they're gonna do next season. Tyrod Taylor's not totally incompetent. They had some drops on their own that were uncalled for. To me,
That's what scares the living fuck out of me.
Doesn't matter. It's opportunity. The opportunity there is significantly more than a lot of other people, which again just gives me a reason to lean in. I'm less hesitant here. I'm more interested than not.
What I will say about Mitchell is that they are forcing him the ball.
Yep.
That is the good thing.
This is Kevin Love in Minnesota time.
Here's the bad thing. He does not. He needs to hang on to the ball. And I am saying this not out of spite, not out of hate. There's no malice. When I look at this team long term, and just when I look at what I've seen of this team kind of retooled and repieced together the way that they are post-trade deadline, it seems like Mechie is making the most of his opportunities. It seems like he might be the more sure-handed one. With Mitchell, it does feel like they're trying to force a thing to become a thing. With Mitchell, I see flashes.
Remember, Mechie also dropped a touchdown in the end zone.
He did. They both had numerous drops. Mitchell does have a bigger case of the drops, and his drops are they're very apparent and really stand out on film. Ball placement is an issue. Some of those drops with both of these players are because of ball placement. Have the Jets, since the retooling as a team, do they look a little bit better? Yes. Is that saying much? Fuck no. I've said it the past couple of weeks. I'll say it again. I'm just those things scare me when we talk about fantasy and reality meeting. There is evidence of that being a case more times than not. Since trade deadline, post trade deadline, since acquiring both of these players. Last week, I viewed just so much more of a flash in the pan just because of what I see on film with both of these players.
Well, remember this
If
also.
I had to long term, like in the future, I see this as a team that in the offseason, they're going to pique my interest because of what I saw at the tail end. Do I think it'll be what Carolina had me enamored as? No, just because I don't fully see everything being there. This team is a fucking far way away. And I also see where maybe these two players maybe aren't even there next year.
Yeah, this isn't dynasty talk. This is like end of the season redraft. I'm going into my playoffs, and for that, Mitchell had 12.
And again,
12
when I can't even picture big picture, I don't even want to fuck around with the short game thing.
No, I disagree. You're getting 12 targets out of Mitchell.
Six targets in week 11. Had 1 catch. 7 targets in week 12. Had 2 catches. Last week, finally got it together. That was against Atlanta. So it's like, okay, I see where, maybe against Miami.
Yep.
That could possibly
and then you get Jacksonville and New Orleans.
Jacksonville is nasty. You're not doing shit against Jacksonville.
I'm riding.
New Orleans, maybe, but like if you get blanked out by Miami and Jacksonville, I don't want to start you against New Orleans. It's a for me. This is a best. For me, this is a best. There are other options, and there are other options. There are other things and other players. Like I'd rather a Jaden Higgins over an Adonai Mitchell. I would rather Higgins over Mechie. I would rather the safer floor than there's not having any. There's no real data that supports that either of these two can sustain. I mean, if we're gonna go off of numbers, the numbers favor Mechie more.
I would say Mechie has been a little bit more consistent than Mitchell.
Like, it's not a game that I'm wanting to play. Devon Valet, 1% rostered. It's not sexy. It's more so him just taking advantage of, the fact that there's no Brandon Cooks there. So, ball has to go somewhere, but you're still connected to Tyler Shock. So there's that with the whole, New Orleans situation. He did have a great outing against Miami, so there's that. Valet has these random once a year outings where he does good. He did it even when he was with Baltimore. Like, what the fuck? Like, he has like this random, like, once a year, like 20+ point game, and then it's gone. That was it probably for you. So I probably would not advise going out to get him. And then finally, to round out the wide receivers, Isaac Tesla. This is one that if Amon-Ra is out, I want in, because also you have the whole you have the tight end room for Detroit banged up as well. So that leaves J-Mo and Tesla and the running backs. I'm wanting to grab some of Tesla. I think that Tesla out of the wide receivers should be a priority add. If you have extra fat at the bottom of your roster that you can trim off, I would be willing to, maybe, trim off someone that I'm not starting, or I don't see, being a playoff, keep down the line, and maybe grabbing Tesla. Even if, they say that Amon-Ra is going to play, at least I prevent from, the Amon-Ra manager being able to just pivot and go and get Tesla should he get ruled out. So, I mean, there's that. I still think that Amon-Ra is going to play. But if
No, I
he's,
don't think so.
but if he doesn't, you know, I don't know. I'm a tough son of a bitch, man.
Yeah, but with no practices and you're getting close to like you can make the playoffs, you can't make the playoffs. You're not going anywhere if you don't have Brown. You need to rest him at least a week or two. This game versus the Cowboys, I'll be honest, if you can't win with Gibbs and JMO, you really won't have a shot in the playoffs anyway. So get your shit done.
Moving on to tight ends. Brenton Strange is around 30%. Strange is back. And Trevor's gonna be looking for him. You know what he did for your fantasy team early in the season, so you know what he's gonna do for your fantasy team later on down the stretch. Let's see here. There should only be. I think I have a typo here. 1 second, please. I'll go ahead and I'll throw this out there. Harold Fannin is around 55% rostered. I guess I left him on here. Look, rookie quarterback's best friend is going to be the tight end, and they're playing against Tennessee. Need I say more? No. AJ Barner, 14%. Sam Darnold, have yourself a day. It sucks that Barner got to be super profitable, but JSN got blanked. It's okay. It only happened, once this season. But then Isaiah Likely as a deeper stash option, deeper choice option, 10% available. Drop Juwan for Waller. Hell no. You need to keep Juwan. Juwan's the only thing that New Orleans has, and Juwan is a top fantasy tight end. I own Kyle Pitts too. Gonna probably start him this week. I mean, Juwan is putting in work. Juwan is putting in work. Like if you have Juwan Johnson, I mean, I see no reason why not to start him. He's tight end 7 on the year. Like, why would you not? Like, why would you not start Juwan Johnson? Why are only 48% of people starting Juwan?
Because people automatically hear the Saints and they're not going to start anyone from the Saints. It's like how you would not you would have cut Chris Olave earlier in the season. Meanwhile, he's top 10 wide receiver.
I would not have cut Chris Olave, being that he is top 10. But at the same time, I would not be. It would be one of those things where I'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like, But at the end of the day, again, ball has to go somewhere.
Game theory, baby.
Only decent QBs left is Brissett and CJ Stroud on waivers. You need to have Brissett. I got May on bye, but I clinched playoffs already, so might fuck around and go Sanders. I mean, if you're already on bye, you could fuck around and find out. You can do whatever you want. If you're on bye, but I would purposely, just to be a dick while on bye, I would take away Brissett so nobody else can fucking have bye. No likely. Agreed on the no likely thing. Those are the waiver wire options for this week. Want to get into a couple of fantasy conversations. I know that we did talk a little bit earlier. I mentioned, I'm going to bring up, some fantasy football fears. Now, sometimes these fears can be considered illogical. Okay. Other times, other situations, I feel like they could be completely logical. Sometimes fear is considered false evidence appearing real, and that could completely be a case. Other times, it's like, glad I kind of, like had that voice creep in my head and say, don't start him this week because, you may just get that gut feeling whenever you wake up. One of the things that you brought up, Taco, earlier, what was that earlier? You had mentioned
Drake London.
Yeah, Drake London, and players that are currently injured that are on the bottom end of their real life NFL teams at the bottom end of rankings. Maybe not worth it be bringing a guy back. One of my fears So I always have this curse, and it always happens to my 1 seed teams. I have had 1 seed teams win before, but usually, superstition. Usually, 1 seed teams that I tend to have tend to be full of players that are getting ready for real life NFL playoffs. So it hurts my fantasy team because they only get to play for like a quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. So I don't get full football out of them that I need to win my fantasy championship. I have had the Patrick Mahomes plays for 3 quarters and gets benched. I have had the, those that have been here long enough can remember the Steven Johnson week 18 play where I was like, no, we're starting Steven Johnson week 18, or I think it was that I think it was it Steven Johnson? I can't remember. This was years ago, like when the channel first started, because I was like, hey, they're gonna, I can't remember what it was. Like I think it was like they're gonna like I think they were gonna bench like Terry or some shit. So I think I was like start like Chris Sims. I can't remember what it was, but like weird shit that you gotta like start looking out for because it's like what's gonna happen, It was somebody over Julio. I said start somebody over Julio because I was like Falcons are because it was a yes, because Falcons were in playoff contention that year, and I was like, yeah, you got it. You can't start Julio this week. They're not gonna play him. Yeah. Can I keep Juwan rest of season and drop Kyle Pitts for Singletary? I own Woody, Brees, Devin, Kamanaga. I wouldn't even bother. I would just keep both Pitts and Juwan
Devin,
rest of season.
if that's Devin Neal, I drop Devin Neal for Singletary.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if anything, yeah, Devin Neal's gone. You don't need Devin Neal. Yeah, it was. I think it was like Chris Sims over Julio Jones. But yeah, like so shit like that. Be ready. Be tuned in. Goal Line Goons and then Wednesday night AMAs, like when I'm going through starting sits. Because weird shit's gonna happen. It's already been happening. Keep the Shefty noties on. If you start getting indications of, well, being that, this team, and I understand the NFL kind of rectified this a little bit by making divisional games at the end of the year. But let's face it, if we're in situations where some of those divisional games aren't going to matter jack shit, Washington, you may be dealing with the conversation of fuck, Dallas is looking like they're already going to get in, they may not play CD or, like Dallas is in a situation where they sit everyone because a loss might actually help them get into the playoffs. Don't be ready for weird shit. That's my rant.
Yeah, I think we're still a couple of weeks away from that, though.
Oh, we're a couple of weeks away. The solution to that, have the strongest bench possible. Have the strongest bench possible.
That's what survived me this year.
Yep. I have a feeling that should I get in with the league that I have Kyron Williams, how I'm saying that, yeah, have Blake Corum as a handcuff in case of injury. I'm already thinking, yeah, if the Rams get in, if they don't have no reason to go out there and put Kyron, yeah, I'm gonna have to start Corum that week. I'm already thinking, like I'm already ready for it. So just shit to be prepared for. Really quick, let's get into things all NFL fans must accept. Week 13 edition. These are things that you have to accept as we head into week 14. Saquon Barkley is a victim of the Madden curse.
False. He is a victim of having a tremendous workload the year before. which led to physically him just not being able to perform at the level that he did last year. Coming into this year, I was pounding that drum of CMC is going to return back to form, and Barkley's going to have a year like CMC did last year. Physically, the workload that he put on his body last year was historic for Saquon. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. So you add in, 3 more games onto his schedule with heavy workload and heavy intensity and all the extra things that go along with it. I think this regression this year was predictable, and I expect him to probably bounce back next year.
Here's my thing. Do I believe in superstition? Absolutely, yes. So could this maybe be remnants of some sort of curse? Sure, absolutely. 13 week 11, 13 week 12, 6.6, week 13. So there has been a downtick. I do agree. A lot of this is Kevin Patullo's fault. A lot of this is early enough in the season, not also establishing a passing game to be able to preserve your running game, which is your bread and butter for later down this season. So also in conjunction with everything that you said, that's obviously the more logical take, but fuck, their superstition has to play into this. Like, come on. Justin Jefferson is the biggest fantasy bust of 2025.
I don't know how you can go into the season expecting so much from Justin Jefferson, not knowing what you were getting out of McCarthy. I felt like that was one of the riskier picks, and this is why I was promoting guys like CMC over him, even though, again, coming off that injury history. We have to factor in who a wide receiver is paired with. It's not like a running back where they have a little bit more autonomy. Although, running backs are dependent on the quarterback. I just no. The quarterback situation is that bad, and you did not know what was going in. So you have to blame yourself.
I think that we are so used to seeing.
Like, you could have had Sun God, bro.
I think that we are so used to seeing not only Justin Jefferson, but so many other great wide receivers. Andre Johnson for many of years, Michael Evans for many of years.
How does the saying go? I'll let the next guy take that risk.
We've seen so many examples of receivers going out there and being able to put up gaudy numbers and be quarterback proof and be fantasy proof. Not gonna say Jane Daniels because that's injury related. I'm not gonna equate, and I hate when people do that. Like, oh, this person got injured, their first year out of college. So like they're a bust. Like people do that with like NFL players like all the time.
I think BTJ is a bigger bust.
Not than Justin Jefferson. Like with Justin Jefferson, it's bigger than fantasy, in all honesty. I mean, we're of course we're saying like we're calling him a bust from like fantasy perspective. I'm not saying like he's an NFL bust or anything, but like it's I don't even think that Minnesota, from like a real life perspective, I think that Minnesota expected adversity. I think that they expected turmoil. Obviously not the fans, because Minnesota fans think that every year is their year. So that's neither here or there. From in office, Kwasi, the GM and such. I think that they thought that at least that Jettis would still get his numbers.
But how about this? You weren't getting Jettis at any discount. He was at full price.
No, yeah,
maybe his discount was like one player.
I think that that's what they were thinking, But like I think that they were thinking kind of how fantasy managers were thinking.
There needed to be more of a discount there.
Yeah, I think that everyone was thinking he was going to be quarterback proof.
And there's no player on earth that's quarterback proof when your quarterback is playing like this. It's impossible.
It's impossible. There's been plenty of guys.
Has there
There's
been
been
guys
plenty
as
of
bad as
guys.
JJ McCarthy? I don't know right now, bro. He
There's
can't get Jettis the ball.
there
Period.
go back in history. Go back in history, my guy. There's been some fucking shit.
All fully understandable, but again,
With
that's
that
not sustainable.
with that being said, I traded away Nico for Jettis earlier in the year. Then I got Nico back. Now I have Nico, Jettis, and Jamar Chase. Oof, those other two been rough up and downs. But no, I mean it sucks.
Nico's been a disappointment.
From a NFL standpoint, I wonder if, and it's tough to even fathom putting this conversation out there just because of the type of person that Justin Jefferson displays himself as. I mean, you even see when he's on the sideline, you could tell that, like, if this was any other receiver, you know, they would be fuming, they'd be pissed, they'd be throwing their helmet. You know, Justin Jefferson
They're getting a new quarterback next year.
has been very calm,
You're
cool, collective. You kind of wonder with age, with what he's already experienced with this organization, if it starts questioning, do I force my way out?
No, they're not going to let you force your way out. What they're going to do is they're going to get you a quarterback.
Minnesota's not great at trade negotiations. I.e. Chris Carter, i.e. Randy Moss, i.e. Stephon Diggs. This isn't their strong suit.
Let's look at what Kevin O'Connell has done with other quarterbacks, and we have to face it. JJ McCarthy is playing some of the worst quarterback in all of the NFL.
There's also a chance
one of the best quarterback players and developers
in today's NFL landscape, where everything is right now. If you don't win, we're not in the NFL of where, like,
you can't
you have
say
very
that
few teams. You have very few teams that let a coach continue on, even, you know, despite whatever is going on or despite whatever media narratives are. Minnesota's not like that. They're not going to give O'Connell another 3 seasons.
Whoa. There's no reason that he should be under the hot seat when he got screwed on quarterback. You let Sam Darnold go, and he clearly was a bigger, better answer than what you had in McCarthy.
He was
it looks like the front office was doubling down on the fact that they had to be right on McCarthy,
but he was
and
in on the
didn't get
decision.
him
So
the
how did he
options
get
that he
screwed?
needed. He's
He
going to
was
get
in on the
another quarterback.
decision. How did he get screwed?
Because you had to give up on Darnold, and you had to give up on Daniel Jones because you needed to play JJ McCarthy.
So you're gonna. So hold on here. I need you to hear what you're saying. I need you to hear what you're saying. So they're going to get another. They're going to get it. They're going to get another quarterback.
They have to.
Now hold on. What happens if the same thing repeats itself?
Honestly, but the fact that they're going to go on the scrap heap and revive a quarterback like they did with Carson Wentz, or what they did with Sam Darnold, he's going to figure it out. I think what we've seen is,
so you're saying that
McCarthy
Justin Jefferson
is not a good quarterback.
you.
This is more of an indictment on JJ McCarthy than it is on Kevin O'Connell.
So you're saying that for the sake of staying in Minnesota, Justin Jefferson should shut up and color. And
what is he going to do? What are you going to? You're under contract, and I hate to sound like this. You're under contract, my dude. Shut up and play. I don't want to hear shit until your contract is near the end.
Or do what every other wide receiver that has ever been under contract do: start acting the fuck out, act a little deranged, and get the fuck out.
Okay, I don't see how that's going to solve anything when you know your guy's going to go out and get you another quarterback, and that it's an indictment on the GM drafting Kevin McCarthy, JJ McCarthy, and not having a more suitable backup than Wentz. They should have got Daniel Jones and let Daniel Jones battle for him, but they didn't want to pay Daniel Jones the money or give him the opportunity to be the starter, which at the end of the day is what he wanted.
He's already done this for years, so why not?
Who's done it for years?
If I'm Jefferson,
Kirk Cousins,
if I'm Justin Jefferson, Minnesota, I'm giving you one more year.
I mean, but
and if it don't work, I gotta go.
At that point, you're talking about a complete different situation. going into this offseason, Jettis is going to be a good soldier. He's going to go in there and he's going to say, all right, KOC, figure it out, homie. I seen what you did with Carson fucking Wentz. Carson fucking Wentz was out there delivering enough to win games. This is a problem with JJ McCarthy. He is all-time bad with an all-time seemingly quarterback coach.
That's an LSU receiver. He want to go and win.
Yeah, well, it starts somewhere.
Mike Tomlin will be the Giants' next head coach.
I think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting. I don't know. I would take him as the coach because we've just have had shit for a long time. So at least him getting us to stability and then we can figure it out from there is better than nothing. But I really want to see all the names that are available first before I make a move.
I know.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of these other guys if they have bad playoffs losses. What happens to them? Do teams make some knee-jerk reactions? You know, it's going to be an interesting offseason as always in the NFL, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
So my thing is I'm going to say no. Just because Pittsburgh side of things. Pittsburgh is not how I just said that we're not in, today's NFL, where like coaches, are very much, one and done, which is a very true thing. But then you have teams that have been in the fucking NFL so long and do not know how to do things differently and get the fuck out of their way and get their own head out of their ass that they think that this is still the NFL of yesteryear. Those teams are the Packers. Those teams are the Steelers. Cowboys do it a little bit. The Niners do it a little bit. Kind of. They have their philosophy that they stick to. Their heritage. The Browns definitely do it. You have these teams that they have their culture. They're set in their ways. They've done the same thing forever, and they're always going to do it. So it's going to be a situation of like, it's going to be like every other Steelers head coaching departure. It is going to be a mutual parting of parties. And I don't know if Tomlin, because of how long he's coached in Pittsburgh and also how much money he's made, he really needs to, you know what I mean? Like go and coach another team. Like Tomlin, have you seen Tomlin's house? Tomlin has a fucking huge house.
They were chanting fire Tomlin.
They've chanted that. They've chanted that for years. This is Pittsburgh. What do you? That means nothing. That literally means nothing.
I'll say this:
how many years have Green Bay been chanting "Fire LaFleur"?
Have they? I've never heard it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, dude. There are certain fan bases that.
I'd gladly take LaFleur. I would take LaFleur over Tomlin. To me, Matt LaFleur is one of the best coaches in the league.
And then even still, and then also there's that. There's that. So that I feel like that's just an asinine fucking take. I don't know a single organization in the National Football League. Like if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm like, why would if I let you go, and if you do choose to go elsewhere, I don't want to know. Fuck that. You've been around the NFL how long? You know how much? Yeah, no. So I do think that in all honesty, it'd be a situation of Tomlin retiring. And honestly,
no. Mike Tomlin will get so many calls because you have to understand
he is going to get so many calls.
Look at the Giants. The Giants haven't had relevancy or consistency for so many years. You would beg for Mike Tomlin to come here and just get us to 9-8. You would fucking beg.
That's also what I'm saying. The amount of money that's going to get thrown at Tomlin by other teams.
Yeah,
You don't want that going to other teams. So like I said, I just don't see it's
Now,
that relationship is gonna be you know those couples that are like they're like together forever, but like it's just like dry and boring.
see,
But like
I don't know about that.
they
I think
they
we could see a trade because then you kind
I
of
don't
you
even see
get
that.
value for your guy. So it's not like you caught him. It's not like it ended the
I don't even
normal
see
way.
that. I see a mutual departure of like this is fun, this was great, but I don't even know if it happens this year. Like that's the thing. Like
Well, if they
I
don't make
think
the
that
playoffs
Colin
this
also
year,
knows that like he's gonna get infinite fucking chances.
if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, it gets interesting.
Bro, they've had that organization has had 3 coaches in like the last
Yeah. But now you're
like
in
40
a bad
years, like
spot.
30 years, like some shit like that.
Yeah, but now you're in a bad spot. Now you just can't keep doing what you're doing. It's almost time for a different voice just because.
They don't give a fuck. I'm telling you, they don't. Like the next guy that they bring in, they're gonna do the same thing. He's gonna be there for 20 some odd years, dude.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine and all, but
Like
I do think that there's a chance this year if they continue to play the way they've been playing, that Mike Tomlin would be on the way out, and it would make a lot of sense.
I think that it's not a way out that
Because then what are you looking at
it's
for
not a
next
way
year?
out in today's NFL standpoint. They're gonna do it in this like amicable, like I said, it's gonna be a mutual parting of ways. Like it's not gonna be the whole like fuck you,
Again,
you're
this is
out of
why I
here.
see it would be a
It's
trade.
not gonna be that. Yeah.
It would
It's
be a trade.
I don't think it's gonna be a trade. It's
It would
gonna
be
be
it would be
the
the Giants
Cowher thing.
trading
It's
for
gonna
him
be
so this
Bill
way it's
Cowher
not
all
him
over
leaving the
again.
contract.
It's gonna be Bill Cowher all over again. They're gonna do a ceremony. They're gonna do the whole like, oh my
But he's going to coach somewhere else. He's not he's not ending his coaching career in Pittsburgh. That's not happening. It's like
we'll
Andy Reid.
see. Seattle has restored a dominant defense.
Yeah, dominant.
I
Absolutely.
agree. I agree. Who do I start? Golf or Love? Golf plays Dallas. Love plays Chicago. Thoughts?
Golf feels safer, but Love has some
Golf,
upside. But
golf
I play
again.
golf.
Yeah, I would go golf. Jackson Dart should wear a Guardian cap.
Not opposed to it, but if he doesn't feel comfortable, he doesn't feel comfortable.
Doesn't feel comfortable. I agree. We are not here to decide,
Like he said, he's here to play football, not pity patty.
Exactly. But at the same time, I would
That's a wild boy.
Yeah.
That's a wild boy.
Like, do you see what's happening down in Miami? Do you want to fucking be that? Do you want to be that? Wear a Guardian cap. That's my take. That's my take.
Although I'm not gonna lie, Jackson Dart got some aura, and that would definitely farm some of his aura off.
Yeah, he has aura, but who cares about aura farm? Son, you need to make some damn money. All right, this is the NFL. You want to have a 20-year career or not? Or I mean, 20-year career is wild, but like you know what I mean. Like,
I mean,
you want to have a
city,
Rodgers Payton career?
He can get some good endorsement money. So I don't know. Again, if he want to go that route, because he gonna make them commercials. Like he gonna make all the girls go crazy.
Sutton or ETN?
Deep down, I probably would go Sutton because that matchup versus Indy I don't love.
Yeah, I mean,
like I don't love Sutton, but he is facing Las Vegas, and you are getting ETN versus Indy. I think the Colts defense, knowing they need to have that game, you make shutting down ETN your priority.
Give me Sutton there. Give me Sutton there. Just because of the matchup, purely just the matchup.
Good D.
Devon Chan will be a top 5 pick in fantasy next year.
Who the fuck is that? Devon Chan. Oh, I thought
the fuck.
I thought you said Vaughn. I was like, Vaughn? Who the fuck's Vaughn?
Even still, as soon as I said a Chan, you should have like.
Well, I was still stuck on Devon. My brain was processing like, who's this rookie? I'm sick of these fucking rookies.
Chan will be a top 5 pick in fantasy next year.
I mean, I hate to say it, he should have been a top 5 pick this year. When a running back catches the ball like 75 times, we got to stop fucking denying the fact that he is a PPR cheat code.
I'm going to say absolutely yes, just because of how the fantasy world works.
So who would be the running back after CMC? Achan?
I could see
He's been better than B John.
I could see people going crazy for it, man.
Here's my problem with Gibbs. He's not as consistent. He has some high highs, but because of the way they use him, they don't like Achan is gonna get you 7 fucking catches, bro. I can't sit there and say I'm gonna get 7 catches from Gibbs.
He is that offense. He is that offense. Like we had even made a
offense. They scheme it for the running back to get catches. Whereas with Gibbs, they do not do that enough scheming. They want to run him more traditionally, and they have enough options on the perimeter where they don't need to put him there. Whereas with the Dolphins, and again, this can change next year if they end up getting some weapons on the outside that may take away from Achan's prowess. But I think with what you've seen out of him, I almost think you need to scheme that. Particularly if McDaniels comes back with Tua, which they probably seemingly will. I see his path to being a top 3 pick or top 4 pick, like Jamar Chase, CMC, and there's very few players that you could argue other than quote unquote Vaughn.
Yeah, no, we even made a joke Sunday. Make sure you all put in your Chan anytime TDs, and then sure enough, right after that was brought up. He had hit. We had cashed that one live. So yeah, definitely. A Chan absolutely just from sheer volume aspect. Drake May will win MVP. I am so tired of this being a conversation. This is week in, week out. It's going to come down to Stafford. It's going to come down to Stafford or May. It's going to come down to Stafford or May at this point.
No, Stafford lost that shot. They're never getting that seed back. It's either going to be the Packers or it's going to be the Bears that is going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. There's no one taking the AFC title.
It's less about the seeding and more about
who's going to have a better record.
More about whenever the NFL does their NFL honors. Who can they paint up, and then who can they have like this whole like legacy thing of all this stuff. You can paint up so much with Stafford. You can also paint up so much with May. It's gonna come down to those two. I'm done with the conversation. I'm tired of this. Is the NFL. This is a week-to-week league. This is not the NBA. This is not the MLB. This is not the NHL. This is a week-to-week league. Last week it was Stafford. This week it's Drake May. Next week someone will do something and then we'll be like, oh, now this person's back in the mix. Relax. Let's just wait until NFL honors at this point. That's all I've been
firmly 10 toes down on the Drake May. But
go back and watch what you just said last week about Stafford. That's why I'm not doing this.
Well, I'll say this. At what point do you actually put CMC into that conversation with the historic season that they have?
I honestly, wholeheartedly, with the way that this year has played out, that you could say CMC, you could say Jonathan Taylor. With the way that this year has been,
I think the Colts fizzling the way they have kind of takes Taylor out of it. Right now, you have Rams at 9-3, the Hawks at 9-3, and the Niners at 9-4.
I don't think that it's a look at the teams or it's a
if they end up going out and winning
this year of any other year, you can make an argument for it to be an individual award. I think that if you look at it from the scope of what it has always been a quarterback award. Well, this season has been more unique than any other season.
But it's going to come down to your record. If the 49ers can pull out the NFC West and come out with one of the best records,
I don't think that you even need that. Like if you're on the voting committee, I don't even think that you need that. You can just say if the 49ers are able to squeak in somehow.
No, they're just with
that. Even with that, it's like it's so easy to say they don't get in
Oh no, they're
without,
getting it.
you know, that's what I'm saying. It's so easy to say, no matter how, like it cuts out. It's so easy to be like, that doesn't happen without that player. This scenario doesn't happen without this one. You know,
I'll say
well,
this:
now let's look at the
what
quarterbacks. Well, the
Drake,
quarterbacks
what
have
Drake
it.
May and the Patriots are doing right now makes him the locker room leader. But the dark horse is CMC if they're able to vault themselves to the top of that division, and he's the catalyst behind it. I think that's how you get there. You need them to vault, though. I don't see
I
them
agree with what
getting in the
Tree
wild
said.
card and then him getting the MVP.
Who finishes up most consistent will get it. Too much parity this season. It's just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And then of course the Chiefs will not make the 4th consecutive trip to the Super Bowl. We already agree that they are not going to get in, so I don't even know why the fuck that's a bullet point on there.
Bye, Travis Kelce.
I think he rides off in the sunset. It's like, all right, this has been fun.
Yep.
Other than that, anything else?
Hampton, Benson. I think that they might be activated this week. Hampton seems like a yes. Drake London, I'm really interested to see. They say he is responding well. There's a chance he plays this week versus Seattle, which would be very interesting. So let's keep our eyes open there. Juwan Jennings being a hoe, that shit was hilarious. And fuck you, Sticky Ricky. Fuck you, buddy. Holy shit.
Hey man, look, a lot of mouths to defeat on that 49ers offense, and like we already said, that shit runs through CMC. Other than that, that's all that I have for tonight. Tomorrow,
Murder, she
Wednesday,
ruled.
so definitely tomorrow I'll rebrief you guys on any injuries or anything, any updates that we have. We'll go through, we'll set lineups, make sure everything is all good to go. Other than that, cheers to me, cheers to you, all the Rum Boys and Girls. What it do, dilly. This is the Goal Line Goons. We love and appreciate you. We out of y'all.
Preaching on the, yeah.